Kingju and Yiju were located on the map after Kinnu Mountain. Channy city of Kingju docks was peaceful and calm. However, at the city lord's mansion, someone admitted their difficulties but still invited their buddy to come and join them despite having a large family and keeping everyone safe. Inside a room, they kept talking and told Lord Fang that they liked the pearls and jades. Lord Fang told the woman he referred to as Madam that she was too kind. He told her to take anything she wanted, while the lady smiled yet felt embarrassed receiving such luxurious gifts. Lord Fang watched her walk away and told her to take care. He sighed. He was in tears as many people asked him for money and treasure, but that was the only way to live under the roof of another, to live by his grace and read his mood. Lord Fang sobbed and wondered how long his family's wealth was going to last. A soldier came in and repeatedly called his city lord's attention. He was scolded by Lord Fang and told to lower his voice because the wall's ears. He reminded him not to call him that there, and let others think they were into role-playing. Lord Fang asked how the matter. He inquired about Gon. His soldier reported to Lord Fang that the Ring tribe hadn't killed Cheng Dale yet when he asked the people who come from Yuzhu before they left. Lord Fang wondered if they hadn't killed him yet and questioned if the Rings ran away after robbing the Black Rock City, to which the soldier responded if he thought Cheng Dale could stop the Ring tribe. Lord Fang replied that it was not possible. The northern barbarians over 10,000 armored horses. He ordered to double-check it and find out what was going on at Bullhorn Mountain, to which the soldier agreed. Meanwhile, at Yuzhu City, soldiers protecting the gates were positioned in a line, each with a spear in their hand. Yang Longting was ordering Kai Dalong to prepare more large crossbows. If they wanted to defend the city, bows and arrows were essential. Kai Dalong responded that he asked the craftsmen in the city to work overnight to make 100,000 arrows in 1 month. Yang Longting furiously questioned the time and sarcastically told them to hurry up because the northern barbarians would not give him a month, and they could not lose this battle. Kai Dalong responded with his fist clenched, and they made haste. Yang Longting observed his soldiers in formation, who stood with their spears in hand. He asked the young man his age, to which the young man replied, "Your Majesty, I am 16. Yang Longting praised him for being a good man and asked if he was afraid. The young man replied that he wasn't. Yang Longting laughed and responded that he himself was also afraid, wondering how the young man could not be. Yang Longting added that if he was afraid, he shouldn't do it, but emphasized that they would protect their homes and defend their country. He told the young soldier that when the Great War came, he and the king would fight the enemy, to which the young soldier agreed. The soldiers addressed their majesty and asked him to take care as he left. The morale and courage of the Yuzhu soldiers were lifted because they did not expect the king of Yuzhu to talk to the young soldiers. They kept talking about the king being a good man and how he drove away the Ring tribe. Other soldiers chimed in, saying that following him was not a bad idea. A report was received inside the city lord's mansion in Yuzhu City. A soldier knelt down as he reported to his majesty that the Ring tribe hadn't crossed the Bullhorn Mountain yet. Yang Longting was skeptical about them not coming out yet as it didn't feel right. He asked about the whereabouts of the bandits of Kinnu Mountain and where they escaped. The soldier responded that they hadn't seen them coming out of Kinnu Mountain. Yang Longting thought to himself and wondered if fool Cheng Dale was really trying to stop the Ring tribe. He ordered to scout once again to find out the situation on Kinnu Mountain, to which the soldier agreed. Meanwhile, many people, like Yang Longting, sent scouts to infiltrate Kinnu Mountain. City lords, bandits, and rich families were everywhere. Imperceptibly, countless pairs of eyes rested there. The talks of Kinnu Mountain never been in the limelight like they were today. Among those fleeing from the wars, some people were thinking of rising again, while others were ready to pack their belongings and move away from the war. Just like how Su Lishi and the young man walked away together, happily. Moments later, at Toad Village, Huang Sanyuan was reporting to Cheng Dale. Since they already fought with the Ring tribe, the courage of their warriors diminished. The fighting power of their warriors simply could not compare with the Ring tribe. Huang Sanyuan added that their defense formation was relatively strong, and if someone was injured, there would be a new person to replace them. In last night's battle, they were fortunate that no one died, but the total number of severely and mildly injured warriors was more than 100. Those who were wounded was sent to Liu Bei. The medicine was still sufficient, so there was nothing to worry about. Cheng Dale inquired about the damage to the city wall. Huang Sanyuan responded that the Ring tribe was not proficient at using stone throwers. Some of the stones did not hit the city, and some flew over the city, which was currently being repaired by their warriors. Cheng Dale asked about the weapons and how blacksmith Zhu was doing, to which he replied that the women and children of the village sped up the production of arrows. They cut a lot of wood before, and the raw materials were also sufficient. Huang Sanyuan added that the damage to the giant crossbows was being repaired by blacksmith Zhu, and the blacksmiths of the village were making more giant crossbows and stone throwers. Cheng Dale confidently replied and smiled that the Ring tribe was just like that. As long as they were given some more time, they might be able to train them into elite soldiers who were disciplined. When the time came, they could wipe out the scum of the Ring tribe. Huang Sanyuan replied that this was just the first wave at best. It was only an appetizer before the main event, and advised his village master that this shouldn't be taken lightly. However, he thought in his mind, because of his village master's confidence, could they really win this battle? A simultaneous rustling sound was heard outside their village. Cheng Dale was alerted of an enemy attack, and the Ring tribe was attacking their city again. He ordered Hugh and Sanyuan to light the wolf smoke and sound the war drums. He commanded archers, giant crossbows, stone throwers, and everyone to position because a new wave of enemies was coming. A bandit pointed to his village master to look out. The Ring tribe came out in much larger numbers. Cheng Dale couldn't believe what he saw. Refugees were marching in their direction, pleading with them to help them. The terrified refugees were pleading with them to let them in so they could rescue themselves and their kids. Cheng Dale thought in his mind that they were planning to get inside the city using a wave of refugees. Huang Sanyuan stated that those savages used the refugees to charge at the city. They inquired of their village master about what they should do. The Ring tribe advanced behind the refugees. Kai Mei, who was on his horse and far behind, watched the battle. Kai Mei thought in his mind that they didn't have a powerful crossbow, and observed their faces and eyes as they cried out for the gates to be opened to save them. He questioned whether they would have the courage to kill both them and their own people. These refugees pleaded for help in a desperate attempt to avoid dying. Meanwhile, Cheng Dale softly taken in all of their cries at the same time. Dao Fei, who asked Cheng Dale if they were already in range and if the Ring tribe was behind them. Cheng Dale responded to prepare the heavy crossbow archers. Tighten the spring, he raised his hand, all of them under his command. Cheng Dale's hand was shaking. The refugees were still praying and crying to be saved. For a moment, Cheng Dale was speechless. However, the Ring's tribe was fast approaching. Cheng Dale shouted in frustration, "Release!" Several arrows flew from the sky like rain and hit the ground, and the rain of arrows continued. Many of the refugees were struck by arrows and died while lying on the ground. As a result, Cheng Dale received a series of notifications, increasing his fear points by approximately 10,000 points. The bandits were startled and frightened yet remained silent. Cheng Dale's fear points continued to rise by several thousand points as the arrows continued to rain down on the refugees and puncture right through their bodies. Cheng Dale was teary-eyed when he called out his second team to get ready while receiving a series of notifications because he was obtaining fear points. He kept racking up fear points as the majority of the refugees lay on the ground with arrows protruding from their bodies. Cheng Dale's tears streamed down his face as he shouted, "Release!" Even a child was not spared by the arrows and was on the ground, and Cheng Dale continued obtaining fear points from the refugees. On the other hand, Kai Mei thought in his mind that it was decisive, but as long as they could block the first rain of arrows and disrupt their army, their goal would be achieved. Their next step would be to attack the city. The Rings raced fiercely towards the city with their weapons, barriers, and ladders. As other refugees searched for their parents, Cheng Dale kept hearing the refugees begging for help, pleading with him to save them and spare them death. He thought in his mind while crying that those dead and wounded refugees, their cries and laments were all transmitted directly to his mind. Countless emotions of fear hit his mind like a tidal wave. Despair, resentment, agony, sorrow, and he wondered about the heavy stench like a mixture of blood and innards smell. Tears continued streaming down his face. He called out to the system that something was wrong and questioned why she was doing this and if this was what she wanted to make him feel. Dao Fei, who notified Cheng Dale that they were coming. Teary-eyed, Cheng Dale commanded all troops to hold the city wall, not letting those animals set foot on their fortress. Otherwise, they would end up like those refugees, and behind them was where their families were. All the bandits fiercely screamed as they agreed with their village master. Stone and arrows went inside the Toad village while the second team was told to maintain their position and go, while others screamed to kill and attack the city. Tin Man and a few other bandits slashed through the Ring members climbing through the ladder. Other bandits even drew arrows at short range and swung swords in defending their city. The Ring members were close to climbing to the top, yet they would be slain and screamed as they fell back down. Guan Yu led the archers and told them to stand back and maintain formation, to which they agreed, while his brothers were fiercely fighting off using their flaming spears and stabbing the sky to kick those ring dogs off the wall and kill. The ring members struggled, but they held the ladder and still charged up there, while others screamed as they fell from the sky. Kaimei was notified that the situation was not good and it was difficult to open a gap to attack. They lost too many of their men in the attack and suggested the soldiers retreat. Kaimei gestured with his hand to withdraw and retreat. Moments later, a person who didn't have parents would hold and carry a burden, fearing that he would not live a long life. Who know brothers like feet and hands, who know husband and wife like a guest or a friend. What was the blame for being born and what was for killing? Yet no one knew whether he lived or died. Someone believed what people said but doubted it because she dreamed it. It was the system and she cried for the end of the world. The heaven and earth were sad, and the trees were mournful. The soul no place to go when the sacrifice did not come. There would be a bad year, and people would be displaced. The system was sitting and questioning the meaning of time and fate from ancient times. This so-called war was such a brutal thing. Cheng Dalei stared at the system screen and thought of his fights in the last few days where he actually got 200,000 or 300,000 fear points out of the rings. He believed that the rings were not afraid of death when they fought a war, and that according to yesterday's battle he actually got hundreds of thousands directly from the refugees. Cheng Dalei thought that his 1 million fear points could be exchanged for a top character. Staring at the screen intensely, he reasoned that the amount was won by an underhanded method. He tapped on the screen and asked the system to summon a character. As Cheng Dalei tapped, a light appeared from the screen. The system appeared and told Cheng Dalei that she had received his request. An orb of light came into view as the system chanted that the heartbeat of the world would usher in the light of the stars. The system continued her chants, stating that millions of emotions would cross the summon platform and flowed directly into people strong enough to shake the world. While holding the orb of light, the system smiled. Amused, Cheng Dalei thought that the skipped scene last time would just look like that. He requested the system to pity him and let him go over his difficulties as he wished for a strong character. While closing her eyes, the system continued mumbling that the hero of the story was reborn and was about to cross time and space to come. The orb of light glowed brighter as it pulsed around the place. A man appeared. A notification stated that the legendary military general was obtained, the leopard head Lin Chong. Info of Lin Chong appeared, stating that he was a martial artist unknown to the public as his age was 33 years old. And as for his skills, he had the wave-breaking sevenfold spear while his hidden attribute was a 1,000-mile-long search for his beloved. Unamused, Cheng Dalei asked the system if Lin Chong was coming. He looked at the screen seriously as he thought that he only had a level 3 village building without the additional attributes of a level 3 village. Cheng Dalei believed that he should be able to upgrade the village to level 3 since there were already 3 top martial artists. He tapped on the screen and told the system to upgrade the village. The system notified Cheng Dalei that the upgrade had failed because it had insufficient conditions, which made Cheng Dalei confused. He repetitively tapped the screen, however the result was still the same. Cheng Dalei's face darkened while the system watched behind him. She told Cheng Dalei that Lin Chong hadn't yet come and that he had to wait until he entered the village to upgrade, while Cheng Dalei looked at her with disappointment. Depressed, Cheng Dalei wondered if Lin Chong was capable of such a great feat, and told the system that the rings had surrounded the village to the hilt, while also wondering if he could come to the village alive after passing through the rings. While Cheng Dalei looked at the rings camp and mumbled that if Lin Chong was killed by the rings while trying to reach the village, he would lose a great general for nothing. As the afternoon sun was seen in the horizon, Cheng Dalei wondered where Lin Chong's whereabouts. Meanwhile, at the Northern Ringers camp, a man's voice mumbled that they had been fighting for so long, yet they didn't even know what kind of force Cheng Dalei had. Another man added, wondering where all those monkeys came from. The man on the right wondered since when did the people of the Empire become so stubborn, as usually they collapse at the first attack. While the other man on the left chimed in that they attacked twice in a row but without success, and that many lives were lost in vain. The others added that some of the smaller tribes were completely wiped out in the battle. Hu Luxing voiced out his opinion, telling them that if he had known that so many people would die, he would have left after the Battle of Black Rock City, as they also did a lot of looting. Aggravated, the man on his side asked Hu Luxing if he was saying such things because he was afraid. Hu Luxing stood up and told Gan Linyang while he was still riding a young horse he could kill when he was 9 years old. Gan Linyang also stood inviting Hu Luxing to a fight if he was not convinced. Hu Luxing cursed aggressively and told Gan Lingdian how dare he speak up, while another man joined in their argument, telling them that if he didn't give them 2 punches they wouldn't even know why flowers were so colorful. Kaime's face darkened as he thought that subordinates were difficult to lead when he had such stupid people under him. He reasoned if they could have read more in their spare time. He thought that there's no wonder why the Empire calls them barbarians. Kaime wondered how nice it would be if he lived in the flowery world of the Empire, and was not confronted with uncouth barbarians every day. Meanwhile, a drum noise was heard all around the place. Hu Luxing wondered about the noise as he believed that the enemy could be attacking. Gan Linying looked at Kaime wondering if they really dared to rush over as lowland warfare was their specialty. Kaime stood up from his seat and told his subordinates that they were going to take a look outside. They rode a horse as they looked over the Toad village who was making the noise. Gan Linying warned Kaime for their hidden arrow and that they could not go any further. Kaime mumbled wondering what the Toad village were trying to do. While holding a paper, Zhang Fei cleared his throat while Huang Sanyuan raised his hand and told his men that it was enough as their enemies came out and that they didn't need to drum anymore. Zhang Fei read the paper telling them that he had heard that the ringers had a strong fighting style and were famous for their horsemanship. He was ordered to read as he had the loudest voice and he could also read and write. Zhang Fei continued telling the rings that Cheng Dale said that the martial arts of the rings were nothing more than the fighting methods of the animals, and the real martial arts would have to be taught to them by the Empire. And that as of today the two armies face each other, and that Cheng Dale couldn't bear the futile sacrifice of the soldiers of both sides as he was ready to fight with the warriors of the rings alone on horseback. He asked Kaime if he could defeat Cheng Dale. They were ready to open the city gates and raise their hands in surrender. Kaime's face darkened. He asked them who they were, as to which Zhang Fei couldn't answer. Zhang Fei looked at Cheng Dale telling him that the rings asked who they were, to which Cheng Dale couldn't believe such a question. Cheng Dale took a step towards the edge and mocked the rings, telling them to listen carefully. He introduced himself as the Ranger General of the Trap Battalion in Qingyu Mountain, and that he was the Lord of the Fallen Leaf City in the Empire, and also the owner of the Royal Seal of Yuju, and the Axe Master whom the gods have passed their abilities to. As his face darkened, he ended his statement that he was also the Toad King who guards the Qingyu Mountain. Cringing, the rings wondered who the hell Cheng Dale was. Zhang Fei shouted that many famous characters had died under Cheng Dale's axe, as he proceeded to ask the rings what they were. Kaime coughed, signaling Gan Linying to give him a good shout as they were unable to lose their own reputation, to which Gan Linying also agreed. Gan Linying yelled and introduced Kaime. Kaime was embarrassed and thought that it was scary to be uneducated, while Gan Linying happily told him that it was done. Another drum noise was made as the wooden bridge slowly fell down. The Toad village gate was opened as Kin Man rode out with his horse. He introduced himself and asked the rings who would come to die under his spear. Kaime looked back and asked his men which one of them wanted to kill Kin Man. All the men behind were simultaneously agreed to be the one who would kill Kin Man. A horse's hooves and a man came rushing towards Kin Man. Kaime wondered who the man was, to which one of his subordinates informed him that the man seemed to be a martial artist who had defected to the northern barbarians and that he also possessed some skills. The man told Cheng Dale to come out of the city, wishing him to let him smash his head with his stick. Cheng Dale leaned towards the edge as he saw Du Mao and wondered. Du Mao yelled, mocking Cheng Dale to come down and have a fight with him. Cheng Dale thought how Du Mao was not dead and how he had joined the Ring tribe. He replied to Du Mao telling him that he respected him as a man, asking him how he could become a tiger after joining the Ring tribe and if he wasn't afraid of his ancestors cursing him from their graves. He asked Du Mao to put down his weapons and fight the barbarians together with him. Du Mao responded by calling Cheng Dale retarded and told him to stop talking nonsense, asking for him to come down so he could let his stick knock his head. While looking at the battlefield, Cheng Dale replied that he would make Du Mao regret his decision. Cheng Dale ordered Kin Man to kill Du Mao. Kin Man charged and raised his spear and told Du Mao to accept his death as he was a traitor. Du Mao readied himself and mumbled, "Very good." Both of their weapons clashed. As both men fiercely wanted to kill each other, Zhu Shenji asked Cheng Dale if he thought that Kin Man could win. Cheng Dale told him that it was hard for him to say, as Kin Man and Du Mao's skills should have been equally matched. He added that if he wanted to win, they would have to use an unusual move. Both Du Mao and Kin Man fought ferociously. The spear of Kin Man almost hit the face of Du Mao. Kin Man's eyes grew wide as he saw Du Mao smiling and was about to counter. Du Mao swung his club, to which Kin Man barely managed to parry and struggle. Hu Luxing mumbled that the two were equally matched and if they were a little clumsy, their heads would fall on the battlefield. Kaime responded that it seemed that the Empire also had such heroes, masters who were not inferior to their tribe experts. Gan Linying chimed in that he pitied such a great martial artist. Zhu Shenji's jaw dropped as he thought that the fight did not look good. Cheng Dalei told him not to worry and just watched carefully. As both men fought, Qin Man glared at his opponent intently. The horse hooves continued to clatter. Qin Man's spear hit Du Mao's horse, which led to Du Mao falling to the ground. Cheng Dalei mumbled that the winner had been decided. Kai Mei ordered one of his men to send someone to fetch Du Mao back as he was still useful. Qin Man was about to swing his spear going for Du Mao's head. He yelled at Du Mao to die. Du Mao's eyes grew wide as he grit his teeth hard. Qin Man's spear missed Du Mao, who was lying to the ground. Meanwhile, another horse appeared and grabbed Du Mao's clothes, dragging him away. Enraged, Qin Man told them not to run away and rushed after both men. Cheng Dalei ordered Qin Man not to chase after the enemy, as to which Qin Man turned to look at him. He added that if he chased too deep, he would get hit by the ring's arrows. He ordered Qin Man to come back. Qin Man flat out obeyed Cheng Dalei's orders and went back to the city. Cheng Dalei yelled, cursing the rings and telling them how powerful they were. He ordered them to dismount and surrender and kneel down, as he would show them a move or two, which was enough for them to use for a lifetime. Gan Lining replied that there was nothing to be proud of when an empire fights an empire, and ridiculed them for being good at barking with no bite. Cheng Dalei's face darkened with anger and ordered his men to show them who they were messing with. A horse thump was heard while the city gates opened. Zhao Zilong came out holding his spear on his back and told the rings to get ready for round 2. He introduced himself, telling them that he is Zhao Zilong from Chang Mountain. The Ring tribe representative responded, telling Zhao Zilong to watch him carefully as he would teach him some manners today. The man laughed, telling Cheng Dalei how dare he let a child come out to die. He told Zhao Zilong to go back to his home and drink milk for a few years and come back to the battlefield when he has grown up. One of the men from the Ring tribe said that he would do it himself, while the others agreed that he could kill Zhao Zilong, and the other man mockingly said that he was already 60 years old, advising him that he better take a rest. Zhao Zilong stared at them, mumbling that the Ring tribe was looking down on him. He told them that he would get serious and show them their place. The man charged and told his companions to let him behead Zhao Zilong's head first. One of his companions sighed and mumbled that he stole all the show for himself. The man furiously rushed towards Zhao Zilong, holding 2 swords, and told him that he was going to die by the sword. The man smiled as he was about to cut Zhao Zilong. However, Zhao Zilong watched the man carefully. Both warriors clashed, and Zhao Zilong came out triumphant, killing the man with his 100 birds spear. The Ring tribe people's jaws dropped as their companion couldn't even last 1 round, while the others wondered what happened. Zhao Zilong yawned and mumbled that he was bored. He asked the Ring tribe who else and told them to hurry up and come at him. Another man charged towards Zhao Zilong, telling him not to be so arrogant and to fight him instead. The man grit his teeth and told Zhao Zilong to die as he was about to pierce him with his spear. Meanwhile, at the city gates, Zhang Fei mumbled that another guy came who could stand 2 rounds against Zhao Zilong, and with just a few rounds, he was already knocked off his horse. Cheng Dalei stared intensely while his subordinates mumbled that the 3rd one for the Ringers lost, and so did the 4th. At the Ring tribe's camp, Kai Mei was out of words while watching his men die one by one. A man was slashed down the camp in Zhao Zilong's 5th opponent. The 7th one just fell down. Zhao Zilong breathed out of exhaustion. Kai Mei mumbled that Zhao Zilong was so strong, as one of his men responded that Zhao Zilong was already exhausted, asking one of them as to who would go and kill him. Another man chimed in and told him that if he wanted to go, he could go, as they don't know if Zhao Zilong was just pretending.